Your best idea that you have coming into this, like you see the vision and it's amazing and it's great, or maybe it's so big you're a little bit timid and tentative and you're not sure how it's going to work out. That's not it. It's always bigger and better. It's who we become along the way that everything morphs and changes and expands, because we're always expanding. And so to think that, okay, that's the end result is so small-minded. It takes being willing to say, okay, let's look beyond and to places we can't even see yet. And that's where our trust and intuition and faith come in, right?
Hello and welcome back to the Oracle on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Leah Dunlap, and today I am here with the amazing, incomparable Dianne A. And I want to share a little bit about who she is, but I'm definitely going to let her tell you more. But what is really amazing and why she and I have just kind of fell into a simpatico nature of our experience together is that she too is an intuitive mentor for visionary leaders of all ages. Also, we're definitely going to talk about that. I wanted to say that the reason I brought Dianne onto our show is, of course, as we help support founders and entrepreneurs and conscious leaders to align their purpose with their gifts and talents and talk about that journey so that hopefully you can be inspired to find something that she's sharing, or just inspired with the fact that she is out there doing the thing and has been successful at doing the thing for many years now. She's also an author. I think, if I remember correctly, it's 7 books. She can correct me if I'm wrong. But really what I think is amazing about Dianne is that her spirit is so genuine and true. She has obviously been out there doing this work in such a heartfelt way and really intends on making the world a better place, which is what we're all about here at the Oracle on Purpose. So I'm going to let you take it away, Dianne, and tell us a little bit more about kind of the breadth of what you do and where it all started.
Oh, wow. That's like a really big question, but thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. It's so exciting to talk to you. And because I feel like the synergy and I'm getting goosebumps. So, well, my journey actually started like in high school. And I noticed that all the kids in high school and the adults too would all come to me for advice and asking questions and things. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. And I seemed to know what they wanted or had it. It was so natural to me. I didn't know it was a thing. And then I remember one day we were driving in the car and my mom pointed over at the hospital in our town. It was a kind of a small town. And she said, one day you'll be working with people there. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. They all thought I was going to medical school, which was my initial plan. But I went, I clept out of my senior year of high school, go to University of Florida early. And a chemistry teacher said, I'm going to intentionally flunk 80% of you because you want to go into medical school and I'm going to make it hard. To which my rebellious spirit said, I don't think so. I'm not doing that. So I did a little bit of soul searching. I said, I'm not going to play this game. I'm out on the game. And so what I'm going to do now, mind you, I was 16 with no mentors and no adults helping me make this decision. So it was just all from within my spirit. And I said, well, I really want to help people in a therapy kind of psychology way. So I changed my degree to psychology and I haven't looked back. And I laugh about that because I was very defiant about it. Like, you're not going to tell me what I'm doing. So I did that. And then I went to school and got my bachelor's degree, got my master's degree, and worked in many settings in mental health and substance abuse, from inpatient psychiatric triage, suicide intervention. I'm very well known for creating custom programs for executives for substance abuse and for mental health and co-occurring disorders. I've been on Anderson Cooper and interviews about executives having a different need than the average bear. And so I did that. And then I blended it with my work with gifted and neurodivergent people. And back when the neurodivergent community told me, oh, we don't have any substance abuse and mental health problems with the gifted people. And I'm like, well, I think you're wrong. And we opened a gifted treatment center and it was full within, a few weeks. So it's been a ride. And I have followed my intuition the whole time. I just kind of knew where to be and opened up a lot of centers and made a lot of money for other people as the brains and the ability to pull off the whatever the vision was for many years, until one day I woke up and said, you know what? I can do this better than the medical system that doesn't work anyway. And so I'm starting my own thing. And then I walked away with $50 and I haven't looked back.
First of all, here's a shout out to everybody who's watching. This is me clapping because nothing makes my heart warmer than when someone says, that's it, I'm off, I'm going to go do my thing, I'm doing it. And to do it in such a way that, you are sharing with us this important piece, I think, too, which is, I love that your acknowledgement of what your experience and your intuition were sharing with you allowed you to make that bold move to do the thing, whatever the thing is. And I know so many women out there that are watching this, and men as well, that, it is that moment when you're like, whatever, however you want to phrase it, even if you want to use the big curse word, if it, I'm going to go do this my own way. There's sometimes a kickback where we suddenly think, oh, on certain days, maybe those not so easy days, like I should just go back and work for some, like this is hard to do it all on your own. Did you ever get that experience for yourself? Was it ever like, okay, what did I do? Why can't I just go back to get a paycheck and have this be easy, as it were? Did that ever happen to you?
Hundreds of times. There are so many times I can't even
It's like,
count them
didn't,
where I'm like, "What have I done? What have I done?" But I know I don't regret it, but I do. I think about it every once in a while I go,
yeah,
not only what have I done, but like, is what I'm doing, like, does it do any good in the world at all? Like, I set out to do good in the world and the world's falling apart even more. So does it have any value? What am I even doing here? And then always when I have those kinds of prayers or thoughts, there's always some piece of evidence. Somebody will call me crying and thanking me for what I did, or I get an
uh,
email about a podcast or something, and then I'm like, "Oh, okay. All right." But, I
yeah,
second guess it for moments. I mean, I would never turn back. I have, during the 13 years of doing this, done other work where I got paychecks from other people as favors. I have credentials and a skill set people want, and so I'll step in and I'll go help
right.
someplace else, but I haven't lost my stride with my work. It's to serve, really.
I love that. Right. And I think that's an important piece is when you recognize that and yes, just so what, we don't leave poor Dan here on the, like, I have also had those moments. So I want to share it because I think so often we idolize other people when you see or we hear their accolades or how talented they are or how much they've done. And we think from the other side that it's easy and that they never have moments where they're like, oh gosh. So thank you for sharing that and being
Yeah.
honest about that. And I think that piece that you just said too is it's like then that's the kind of the beauty of it is that we get to decide what this looks like and we get to say we are making a difference and the difference we make is what we choose, right? So like, yeah, there are things going on in the world, but as you said that, I like instantly the voice in my head said, and just imagine how much worse it would be if people like you weren't there, right? Because I think that things happen in the world no matter what, but it's a really good point. Oftentimes when we find ourselves in that structure that we suddenly start catastrophizing, like, oh, see, this is a sign. And so, yeah, tell me, because that just suddenly, of course, I just already know, by the way, everybody who's watching this conversation is going to go where it goes. So just hang on and stay with us because what just hit me was part of using our intuition is looking at those signs, but it's also the discernment of those signs. Don't
Oh,
you
totally.
agree?
Discernment is
Like, what did those signs mean?
it's discernment, and then it's what's right for me. It's understanding what they mean,
Yeah.
and sometimes how the message is or what's unplaying, but, like, is it for me to do? Like, every morning I wake up and say, "What is mine to do spiritually?" Because just because I might get it in my intuition or have a brilliant idea about it, doesn't mean it's for me to do it. I need to learn what is for me to do
Yep.
in the bigger picture of the universe, and once I got that, well, it took me a little while to get it, but once I got that, then my life has been much easier because every morning I wake up and say, "Thank you. What's mine to do?" And then I do that, whatever that is. And sometimes I have no clue why, and it always unfolds, and other times I'm real clear. So,
Right. And I think on the times that it's not really clear, don't you agree that it's also then you just say, like, okay, well, at some point this is going to make sense. If I'm getting this inclination, at some point I will look over my shoulder and it will be absolutely clear why that was for me to do that day, even though it didn't make sense in the time. Don't you? I think that that's part of this though. And I think because you work with visionaries, um, do you find that people that have big visions, they find themselves in a place where outwardly they need to kind of hold themselves up to be like the leader of the vision, and sometimes internally and maybe secretly or quietly they are having those doubts because they don't have someone like you to really help reflect that back to them. And so they kind of spiral. Do you see that as part of what the challenges that people are that they show up in your
Oh,
forefront?
yes, I see that a lot where, I call it silent pain and silent misery that, everybody, they're
Yeah.
used to leading and they can follow the vision and get everybody going, but like who's there for them? And and most of the people that I work with, the high majority of it, that's my role, if anything, as a mentor to be there and I'm there for them. That's just what I do. So I only take certain people so that I can be there for them in real life. And it pays off because once you know that there's somebody in your corner really that's there for you, like really without an agenda, without throwing, oh, if you loved me, you would, and all of them was those manipulations, but somebody who's really there for you and will stand up to you, but also will confront you if you're being goofy and doing something that's just not right, like that has your back in that way. Then we can really excel and do things magical because we have that extra human support. I think it's so vital. I think, in our society where people are taught you have to do it alone, that's wrong. That's totally
Right.
wrong. It's interdependence, not independence. We've got to learn how to be interdependent with other species, other people of the same species.
Other species.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a really interesting piece too, I think, for us to really highlight, which is that interdependence is not weakness, right? The need to have support is not weakness. And I don't know about your particular clientele, but I would say, we know we've talked about this, like people who are gifted, people who are visionaries, people who are special or have, talents or gifts, there's a lot of self-flagellation, right? Like like if you know these things, if you're so smart, if you're such a visionary, then you shouldn't have, right? These doubts. This shouldn't be a problem for you. You should be able to take care of it yourself, right? I know for myself, I will say, people say like, well, do you ever not listen to the Oracle's insights? Yeah.
You're human.
But it comes back to what you said a little bit too. I'm human, and sometimes I just want to be defiant for whatever reason. And I think it is important for us to have a real conversation about that because the more we can put that idea down, and as you said, the people can really start to lean into support, lean into the guidance that they get from others, the better what they're creating and the better the vision actually becomes. And it gets out into the world, which is where it's supposed to go,
Right. And I
right?
always tell everybody that your best idea that you have coming into this, like you see the vision and it's amazing and it's great. Or maybe it's so big, you're a little bit timid and tentative and you're not sure how it's going to work out. That's not it. It's always bigger and better. It's who we become along the way that everything morphs and changes and expands because we're always expanding. And so to think that, okay, that's the end result is so small minded. It takes being willing to say, okay, let's look beyond and to places we can't even see yet. And that's where our trust and intuition and faith come in, right? It's like, okay, this is really cool, but
Right.
that's not it. It's better than this. And then that's what makes me so excited for people is they set out to do one thing and I'm like, well, no, whatever you think it is, you're wrong. It's better. It's always better. And so it makes it so
That's the easy stuff. Let's talk about the real stuff.
right.
Real. I also I touched on this and I want to bring it back because I think this is so important that it's something that people don't really talk about, which is young visionaries. Because you said you work with visionaries of all ages. So tell me, what does that mean when you say that? Who are we talking about? Who are these people? Tell me a little about
Well,
those
my youngest
individuals.
client ever was 6 years old, and she had a real intuitive gift, and her teacher, her first grade teacher, didn't know what to do with it because she would just say things, which I thought was really cute. And
Ah,
so we helped her with that, and now she's doing really well. But I have a lot of people that I've worked with and that are teenagers or in their early 20s that are managing college, managing high school, trying to manage a world where they're intensely sensitive. They feel and see and know differently than their peers, but yet they're trying to fit in. But yet they know they're supposed to do something. They don't really know what it is. Sometimes I spend a lot of my time with defining words and educating and bridging things like this means this means this is how come you're
mm,
feeling that. This is how it relates to others, especially like I have a young man I'm working with now who's profoundly gifted. So he's got a very high IQ. He's also intensely sensitive. So he's very intuitive and he's got real high sensitivity. And he is trying to sort out the world because there's a real judgment in the culture of men being highly sensitive and intuitive. It's woo-woo for women, even though it's scientifically based. But for us, we can get away with it a little bit better than a guy who wants to go and work, in the corporate world. Like, how do you do that and maintain your own sovereignty? And so thankfully he's got real supportive family. And so we're doing really great. But there's that, it's like, how do I manage in a
Yeah.
world that's not built for me and still thrive?
And I think it's the reason I thought this was really important when I saw it was like, this is so brilliant because I think you're right. When we're in school, when we're younger, and if people are having challenges because of how their special gifts, there's structure there to, like, at least, manage it or identify it. But then as they get older, there is that gap. We're like, okay, now we're going off pretty much on our own to build a life. And I know for myself, I work with a lot of people that are in their 40s to 60s because by that point, it's kind of reached ahead. And so I think what you're doing is so important to give a space in between where people can actually start off on their life with these tools and resources in place. What do you think one of the biggest tools or resources you've had to share with your clients on just the regular that has made the biggest difference for them?
To slow down and breathe. Breathing is a really big one, and and they all laugh at me when I say breathing. And the other big thing that goes with that is connecting with nature herself. Bare feet on Mother Earth,
Mm.
hanging out with the moon and the stars, and letting themselves be part of the elegant simplicity of our universe, and realize that they're an integral part of things. And and that's where the trust comes in the greater world. And so I start there. I think that's one of the bigger things. I give lots of homework. Nobody gets away from me without some kind of assignment for the week. And they love it. Oh, what's my homework? And they like to have a project to work on. So we always have something to work on.
What if you could tap into the law of attraction with precision and power on your terms? I'm Leah Dunlap, and in my audiobook, Power Up the Law of Attraction, I give you the no-fluff blueprint to create a life of purpose, prosperity, and peace. Ready to stop manifesting by accident and start creating with intention? Download Power Up the Law of Attraction now on Audible. Now, back to the show. Nice. All right. So I'm going to ask like the whatever the $1,000,000 question. Like, what is one of those moments or one of those past clients that you work with that just it filled you with a sense of success in watching them find their own way? Like, what was a moment where you were like, this client was X and now they're Y, and it was so incredible to see? Can you share that without giving details, perhaps, but just a journey that you've gone through with someone that,
There's
yeah.
thousands. But the one that popped in my mind first, that's the one we're going with, is a family. It's
There we
actually a
go.
family. I was called to
Oh,
see their high school son. He was 15, straight A student, private school, quarterback of the football team, looked really good on the outside and was just miserable, depressed, and suicidal. And he decided he was going to be financially independent and started doing things that weren't so hot, um, and really creating a dual life for himself, trying to survive. Now, this young man has amazing parents and who would do anything for him. He's an only child, and they are really supportive and really amazing. They're just great people, professionally and personally. Well, so what happened was they called me in to work with him, and I did a lot of work with him. At one point, I was in the home because I a lot of times go on the road with people or go into their homes and sometimes on Zoom. So meet my clients where they are. This case, I was in their home working working with
wow.
him about 20 hours a week, and he was doing really great. And then he didn't do great. So I helped him get someplace. And anyway, long story short, I ended up working as much with the mom and the dad as him. And the joke kind
Mm,
of was that I got called for him, but they started seeing that they wanted to make changes as well, and then also as a family unit. So what started out as one thing became this much bigger project,
wow.
and I still interact with them and help them out or answer questions or just see how they're doing because they're very dear to me as humans because they're just good people trying to find their way. All of them gifted, all of them have
Yeah.
ADHD and neurodivergent, all of them very sensitive, but no two of them do it the same. So they're all different. And so it's kind of
Mm,
like this person processes and
Yeah.
comes back. This person does this. And so it's teaching a lot and supporting a lot and answering questions. They've called me the Jedi Master more than once, and the son calls me Mary Poppins. It's like I get all these names, but I think that
Aw.
the magic sauce for them was I heard them and validated them, but also showed them a way out of the mess they were in, and they couldn't get out of, because they were trying to think their way out and they needed to feel their way out. So once they had a different way to do it and the tools, they're off and running, and it's wonderful. I mean, when I think of them, I get tears in my eyes of joy that was a major turnaround for all of them, not just their son, even though that's where it started.
I love that. I know that not only do you work with like just this is amazing, like you go and you spend time with these people, but I know that you mentioned to me, of course, that it's coming up that you actually do take people away to go work with you through retreats. Tell me, what is the value for them to go from where they were, like living in their homes or doing their businesses, and coming and stepping away? What is it? What's different when they come to spend the weekend with you in a retreat?
Well, the great benefit of a retreat is that every single retreat I do is fully custom based on the people who are there. So I've done custom retreats just for families or just for couples. I do a lot of couple retreats. And then, like, I'm getting ready to run my retreat in January that's for neurodivergent people. So it's custom created. They get to come away for a while. There's a lot of power in coming apart for a while from the stuff of the world. And we have time to be and connect, because humans are pack animals. We're meant to be connected to others. And so if we're not connected, like really connected, then there's going to be that existential loneliness and that sense of disconnection, which is amplified in gifted visionary people. So it allows somebody to finally breathe and relax and decompress and feel human and feel heard and understood. And just feeling heard is, one of the most valuable things we can do. We all need to be heard and loved. So when you're unconditionally cared for, I take care of all their food. Make all the decisions. Nobody has to do anything other than look at their watch every once in a while and make sure they're back on time. And even then, it's fine if they're not. And I always find a really cool place to do my things so that there's beauty and there's kindness and there's gentleness, because it's a harsh world sometimes. So I love to create those experiences, because the look on people's face when the stress drains out of their face and their tongue comes off the roof of their mouth and they come away looking 10 years younger and feeling a lot better, moving better. I mean, it's magic to me. It's just the most amazing, beautiful thing. And I'm so honored I get to do that. Like, how cool is that?
Now, if you're listening and you're thinking, I want to do that, don't worry. We're going to make sure you have all of Diane's information so you can find out more about that. I think an interesting piece of this is I hear you, and I know we've talked about this, slipping from neurodivergent to gifted to visionary. I heard recently someone say, I think everybody is neurodivergent. Like, is that a sense that because there is so much more acceptance of it, or is there a defined persona behavior pattern? Are there people that are truly, I just want to say, not neurodivergent? Like, is everyone to some degree, do they all have a sense of neurodivergence? Is that what we're coming to understand now that we've kind of dived into this pool?
Well, there's a couple different answers. I could come at this one from several different ways.
I know. I'm like, I would dance around that. So you go where you need to go with
Technically
it.
and academically and diagnostically, there is a difference. In Dianne Allen's world, we're all neurodivergent because no two of us are made the same. But there is a difference when I'm using that word, or I'm using gifted or visionary, and that is the processing. A person who's gifted, which means a higher IQ than the average, or is intensely sensitive, so they have overexcitabilities, which means their brain functions differently. Those people, and intuition is a part of that. ADHD is a part of that. So it's not necessarily looked at as something bad, though a lot of people think neurodivergence equals autism. It includes that, but it's not only that. So if you look at those people, all of them, me included, we process the world differently. So we might have a different sense of humor. Like, we'll say something funny and nobody will laugh, and then they'll figure it out like 10 minutes later. Or socially, it'll feel a little weird sometimes because we don't engage in the same way. Small talk gets on our nerves more than anything in the world. And so there's certain behavior patterns, ways of dealing in the world. Neurodivergent people, like, when they organize, there's piles everywhere. It's a different way to process. So that's what I'm looking for. Most of the people I work with are outliers. They've always known they've been a little different. Their family looks at them funny, like, we do it that way. And you're like, I don't know, that's how I do it. And so I figure if you feel like you're quirky and you're a little bit of an outlier and maybe even a black sheep and you don't do things the way the other people around you do, and you go, there's something different about me, that's your gift, that's your asset. And that's saying that your brain
Mm,
processes the world differently than the average. I believe that difference
yeah.
is why you're here on planet Earth, to help humans and the world progress into something more amazing. That's my belief.
I love that. And that brings us to my lovely final question, which is always this way, which is Diane Allen. What is like that unique? I know that everybody has a unique life purpose. I know that everybody has that internal driver of what they're doing, what they're creating. And I want to know for you, what is it that you hope, like, what is the grand vision of what you hope to do with the work you're doing in the world today?
To inspire and educate people so that they can live in a way that when they look back, they can say, well done.
So they can look back and say, well done. I love that. So, with that in mind, I always give everybody the opportunity at the end of the call to ask the Oracle any question they have around like that vision. Like, is there a piece of that vision, something that you would like to have some intuitive insight, guidance, divine guidance around that I could answer for you today?
Oh, yes, I definitely have a question for the Oracle. I didn't know I was going to get this part. Um,
Of
So
course.
excited. Yes, my question is, sometimes I have the feeling that I'm on a parallel path to something that I'm also supposed to be adding or doing differently. Like I'm on the parallel path, and what would happen if I got on whatever this path is that I'm feeling I'm on the side of it, like going along, but I don't know how to describe it, but that's how it feels sometimes. Like either there's
Mhm.
more
Yeah,
or there's something to morph or grow into or something, and I'm having a hard time getting that information.
I love it. Okay, so what I'm just so I know I have the question. It sounds like you're asking is there indeed a parallel path? Like the instant you asked that, the answer was yes. And then if there's something more you can do to like bring that path
Right.
together,
Is there
is that
something
what your
I could
question
be
is?
doing or
Okay.
not doing in order to allow
Mm,
things to come together?
yeah. Yes. Is the easy answer. And the other part of that is she's showing me like, yeah, these parallel paths that you have, they actually need to be collapsed onto
Mhm.
each other. And so with that, it's not they're blending. It's literally like like literal integration of
Okay.
both paths into one path. So they need to be bonded together. And that you're honestly, weirdly, which doesn't seem to make sense to me logically, but what I'm getting is the more part is um the business side of your business needs to be doing more. So there's more money, there's more wealth, like there's more systematically, yeah, that needs to be kind of tightened up or built out more.
Okay.
Uh bigger business, bigger impact, but it feels like it's so beautiful. It's like what are those called? Like a rubber band
Yeah.
ball, right? Like all of these pieces are like swirling around and it's like it's expanding. So it's kind of like that's where I'm getting the systemized part of it. It feels like a very systematic piece. So I don't know if there's like more tools or resources that need to come in. I get the sense it's like things need to be working better so that you can expand, but it is definitely business. And two parts of that path need to be literally she's showing me like them like landing into each other as
Right.
if those like it's an integration, but it's an integration that says these are all now one thing, right? We're not separate pieces coming together. It's like they're all blending together. So I
Mhm.
that's the thing that she's showing me, like blending those two paths and then really expanding and developing systems so that your business can grow. That's what she's showing me.
Oh, that's
How
cool.
does that land for you hearing that?
That lands perfectly because that's a big Achilles heel in my business is systems, and I've had a real challenge finding somebody who can understand what I do enough to create a system or help me with my system stuff. And I can see that I need that and I want to do that, and I don't know how to do that. I know a little bit. I know enough to know that I am not the expert. right? And
Yes.
when I ask people, they look at me like, I don't know we don't even know what you do. How can we help you with that? And then one time,
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that it's round. The system is
round, right,
round. That was like, well, that's really
right,
interesting. So that probably speaks to that. Like somebody that can see it from a full circle
right.
view.
Like I like the round
Yeah.
rubber ball thing, the rubber
Nice.
band ball thing, because that's how it feels.
Yeah, but I think it's expanding in that the what I'm seeing in those instead of bands, I'm literally seeing like machinery, mechanics, the mechanics, and that's where the system piece comes in place. So I think that's the next thing is to start really focusing on how to make that system, as you said, so that be supported in it the way you need to be supported in it, but that it continues to expand because you have great capacity in your business that has not been tapped into yet.
Right. Okay. So now,
So I hope that
yes,
helps.
to really,
Yeah. Um and I love that you were excited to have that question. And I would love for us to make sure that everybody hears from you how to best avail themselves of what you have to offer and what you want to leave them with that they should know for sure today.
okay. Well, you can find me on all the social media platforms everywhere. My website is visionsapplied.com. And my podcast is called Someone Gets Me. And it's on YouTube and every audio platform I think that there is. And I'm on TikTok and LinkedIn and Pinterest. I'm everywhere, really. Um, and so come find me and join me and hang out and say stuff. I also have a Facebook group called Someone Gets Me that I answer questions in and engage with people. And the thing I want to leave with everybody is a phrase I say to people when they're doubting themselves sometimes or they're just struggling. And that is this: you are beautiful, you are lovable, and you are capable. Period.
There you go. You heard it here, folks. Beautiful, lovable, capable. Thank you so much, Diane, for being part of our show. I am so excited. I know we could talk forever and ever. And I'm so glad. Yes, please go find her, hunt her down. I promise you, you might even get a surprise conversation with her that you weren't expecting because Diane really does show up and she is there to support you. So thank you, Diane, for being here. Thank you to all of you for following along and coming back to watch the show. Please make sure you subscribe below. And if you are looking for support and you are someone who is feeling like this is the time for you to really reach out and be more in the world and you have so much to give, please make sure you get support. We're here to help you. Seek Diane, seek me. You have people on your side and you don't have to do it alone. Again, I'm Leah Dunlap, and this is the Oracle on Purpose podcast. Thanks for watching.